Okay, so like I've done before with these types of things, I'm going to give my overall thoughts on the episode itself, then I'm going to give my overall thoughts on the whole series, and then we're going to do a really deep spoiler dive, okay? So, just so we're clear, like, there's going to be a big spoiler section, but if you want to avoid it, you'll be able to. Although, in this case, I would probably recommend that you not avoid it, just because I have to, so I can elaborate on some problems I've been having with, not so much the basically the negative sides of the show, unfortunately. It's nothing too terrible, though. So, again, if you want to skip the spoilers, there'll be a means to do so, okay? It's all gonna be in one big section. Alright, so, Ms. Marvel's season finale, or series finale, or whatever, episode 6. It's called No Normal. The episode itself gets a B. Unfortunately, things were a little uneven in this episode. Again, the problem with I believe the 6-episode format is being kind of hindered here. Overall, the villains come across very cartoonishly and downright stupid, but there is, overall, without spoiling much, a very decent ending with some nice pages open for later stories, and of course, a very fun mid-credits stinger. Alright, the series overall gets an A. Like I said, overall, this show is really good. It's really enjoyable. Good dialogue. Characters are fun. The story is fun. Superheroes fun. The idea of taking it and not being overly serious and overly drawn out is fun. Again, the main drawback tends to be the villains in this case, and possibly the 6-episode format. This thing maybe should have been 10 episodes, 12, at least 8, because I think that way they could have done 2 villain arcs better than what they did. Instead, it makes everything seem rushed and uneven, and it makes both villains in this case seem very, very lackluster. So, overall though, still, this gets an A. You should definitely be watching Ms. Marvel. Hopefully, streaming numbers will start to pick up on this series, because I know it didn't get a great start overall. Probably because they shouldn't have debuted it right around the same time Obi-Wan did. And unfortunately, we're about to go through that with She-Hulk and Andor, the next Star Wars series. So, again, maybe Disney Plus needs to space these out just a little bit more. Still, overall though, again, Ms. Marvel gets an A.
Now I know I can control the anger.
Bruce?
Well, I get angry when I get into trouble.
Trouble?
I break stuff, but it takes a lot for me to lose control.
Thank you, Bruce. Edward? Obviously, we have more work to do.
Okay, so, yeah, again, this is a spoiler section. In this case, as much as I would tell you, if you want to avoid it, you can go to the time code right here. But I'm going to also say that I'm going to get into, elaborate my feelings on the drawbacks in this show a little bit more. So, I mean, if you can stand a few spoilers here and there, I would really suggest that you listen to this, but I understand if you don't. Okay? Okay, so episode 6 of Ms. Marvel is No Normal. Kamala and Muniba have returned home from Pakistan. Kamala is explaining everything to the rest of her family, who already know because Muniba blabbed it. Meanwhile, Bruno and Cameron continue to try to dodge damage control as best they can. The problem is Cameron's powers are just fluctuating out of control. Eventually, they somehow get into contact with Nakia, who contacts Kamala, and they all begin to meet and powwow with. They try to take Sanctuary in the mosque. Unfortunately, damage control is warrant and starts marching in there. Zoe and Miguel, the two popular kids, come to their aid. Miguel pretends to be Nakia's non-Muslim boyfriend to allow them to escape to the high school, where they begin planning a big final showdown. As this is happening, Kamala tries to explain to Cameron what happened to his mother. Unfortunately, there's just not enough time as everything is going on. This episode does begin with a disclaimer, because we have people marching into school with weapons and beating school children. So, Yeah, that's a little rough, unfortunately. They basically do their best. They don't try to openly harm any of the damage control agents. They just do their best. They set up like a trick bomb. They, throw a fog machine out. They try to fog up the halls so that everyone can, so they can hide better. And as this is happening, though, again, Cameron's powers are just fluctuating out of control. He has similar powers where he's firing out these like crystal force fields, and they're destroying everything. And outside, the lead female damage control agent, I never got her name. One of the main problems with this show, unfortunately, not naming names. Anyway, basically ignores orders and goes full blur inside, even though the crowd gathering outside doesn't want it, because the students are also streaming everything on the internet. So, the idea of what's happening is getting out of hand here. They're just trying to hunt these kids down. As this happens, Kamala finally starts to try to explain what happened. Cameron has pieced together that his mother is dead. She said she pierced the veil. Did she? And she tried to go home. She tries everything, but he doesn't. He just thinks that no, Kamala or the Red Daggers killed her. As this has also happened before all of that, Kamala did get into contact with Kareem and explained what was happening with Cameron, and he says, "Look, if you can get him to the harbor, if you can get him out of the country and get him to Pakistan, we can help him." And so they're trying. That's what they're basically trying to do. But as this is happening, Cameron finally starts to get really angry. He's now openly attacking the damage control agents who, like I said, even though they're trying to keep them at bay, they are not trying to actively harm them, but now he's out actively trying to harm them. And Kamala has to interfere a couple of times. When they open fire on him, Kamala throws up a force field. And finally he starts laying loose with all his powers, and this is where she encases both of them in a protective dome and explains, "No, your mother pierced the veil. It wasn't good. She realized this was a horrible mistake. It killed all the other clandestine. She sacrificed herself to close it and save you because she realized that you not being alive in the world wasn't worth living in." And that seems to calm him down enough so she said, "Look, I will buy you time to get to the harbor. You need to get to Pakistan." And that's how that plays out. And yeah, and the evil damage control agent is then fired because she made damage control look bad. And that's where the real problem is with this, unfortunately. Damage control are not good villains. And here's the thing. Damage control in the comics aren't bad guys. They're not, they sometimes help bad guys, but they're not bad guys. They are not outside of one story arc during the Civil War event, which, was like a rogue element. Damage control are generally considered to be good guys. Like, their job is to go in and clean up after these big superhero battles. They are not supposed to be targeting people and arresting them and profiling, and that's just not damage control. You could have set that up as a different government agency. You could have done, you could have done S.H.I.E.L.D. Heck, we haven't been able to bring the X-Men in fully, but why not do the Hellfire Club or something like that? Have that be some sort of element involved in this. Why do it with damage control? Not to mention, the villain, damage control as a villain is just really one note. Ooh, evil law enforcement agency. They don't respect the Muslims by marching into the mosque with their shoes on. They don't get a warrant. They don't and it's like, okay, it just really, unfortunately, that's not good. And again, we had better villains in the clandestine, but even then, the execution was so bad. Like I've mentioned so many times before, it was just rushed. This is where the 6-episode format is really hindering this show. Really hindered this show. I mean, again, like, if you stretch this out to, like, even 8 episodes, I think 10 would probably be even better. You could have done 2 arcs. You could have done clandestine arc and damage control arc, and then, finished off with the damage control thing. Like, you could have had damage control. Like, damage control pops up in 2 episodes, but then they disappear for 2 episodes until the tail end of episode 5. Yeah. And then, why is this one woman so hell-bent on doing this? There's no excuse for it at all. And it's so poorly done. It's just, like, it just really doesn't work, unfortunately, and that's probably the big fault with this series. Anyway, Kamala saves the day. Cameron gets to Pakistan where the Red Daggers take him in, so everything seems good there. Ms. Marvel, as she now calls herself, is a darling. She got her full costume. Mudiba made it. So that's where that came from, too. She becomes a darling on social media. Everyone seems to like her. However, just before Bruno prepares to leave for Caltech, he said, hey, look, I figured out there's something different about your powers still anyway, because, why is it that you get them and you have such better control over them than Cameron did? It doesn't make any sense. So I thought maybe it was the bangle, but no, it's not the bangle. I did a genetic screening on you, and there's something different about you. It's some type of mutation. And then, after, being out with Bruno and Nakia for a while, she comes home, she collapses on the bed, and suddenly she starts feeling weird. She gets up, and she starts, like, fluctuating. She falls into the closet, and Carol Danvers emerges. So, yes, Kamala got her shape-shifting power as well. So, the big revelation there about it being a mutation, I'm guessing they're going to do a Kree-human hybrid because Ms. Marvel is coming back in the Marvels, the Captain Marvel sequel. Not, yeah, maybe, maybe she's going to be part Skrull, again, given the shape-shifting abilities. Yeah, I don't think they're doing mutants like in the X-Men. If you want to, I reviewed the first story arc of the Ms. Marvel comics where I explained why that whole thing fell, the whole shebang. We don't have to get entirely into it. But yeah, still, I think where that's probably going. Like I said, overall the episode was fine. Again, I think it did a decent enough job wrapping up the story. It's just, again, the tone was so uneven, and again, given recent events, seeing a bunch of people with armed assault rifles running through a school, beating down kids who are trying to stand up for, not being attacked by the government is a little too on the nose sometimes. And like I said, uneven plot, cardboard thin villains. It just it didn't quite provide a completely satisfying ending. It was still very good, just there was a lot of room for improvement. So yeah, that's why I gave the final episode a B, but the series overall still gets an A.
Our world is at risk, and only one team of heroes can get the job done. I've activated the Avengers Protocol. Avengers, assemble!
Marvel's Avengers Assemble, a brand new animated series coming this summer only on Disney XD.
It's smashing time! Lock and load, Jim. Keep your friends close, your enemies closer.
All new! Hulk and the Agents of Smash. That's Saturday at 7:45 on ITV and CITV.
Okay, so this last bit's going to be a little bit longer than usual. It's nothing serious. Everything's fine. It's just there's going to be a bit. I'll get to it when we get to it. First and foremost, the next video is probably going to be the review of Nope, the new Jordan Peele movie. After that, it's going to be the random trade review on Legends of the Dark Knight, The Arrow, and the Bat. I'm not going to do Ring of Honor, Death Before Dishonor. I just... because episode 200 of the random trade review is coming up and I'm doing something really special for it, I need to make sure finances are there so I can get the last little bit done. Let's see, what else? The next wrestling review will instead be SummerSlam 2022. Okay, so I am like I said, with episode 200 of the random trade review coming up, I'm planning after that to do new intros for everything. I said this in a previous Madden video, that was something I was working on. I was just waiting for everything to finally cycle through, like all of the stuff that had been delayed by the pandemic to have finally cycled all the way through. So, we will be getting new intros. I've got certain pictures lined up for things already. I also just want to point out, just because you might see something in that review part, the opening, doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to review it. I would like to, if I ever get the chance, I would definitely give it, I would definitely like to, like I said, if I get the chance, I would definitely like to, but that doesn't always mean it's going to happen, unfortunately. But still, you know, like I said, finally getting some new openings after, you know, almost 3 years of the same ones. So it'll be nice to get that done once it happens. Yeah, like I said, also, not too much else. Anyway, like I said, the next video is going to be the recap and review for Nope. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember, you can help support my channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcatproductions, where you can help request a movie, even if it's something like, say, Sonic the Hedgehog or the next Purge film. I'll review it.